So I didn't make the media hill.
Oh, we one person I know we forgot that I do have to bring up before we get to the last section. Amanda Hari, newer, great videos. I mean, because you're new, you'd probably still be in the little mudslide section, but you have definitely can climb.
But as you just saw, Dallin Pepper did mention my name near the end and that they decided to leave me off. I do think there was like a little room there in the mud for me. I could have been down there with Keeping It Real, Grant, just swimming along. I think that would have been fair. Also, they went on about how if you dislike some placement on the list, tell us what you would have done instead. Well, I would argue that maybe I deserved a spot over Mason Startup. Just because of some of the metrics they talked about. Dallin may have said I was newer in that video. I am not newer than Mason Startup. I started posting videos in 2022 with the Open. I've done an Open series since then. That year I didn't post my full workouts, but 2023, 2024, and 2025 posted my full Open workouts right away so people could watch them and beat my scores. So I've been making media for a second here. I went to the games on a media pass for the last 22, 23, 24, 25, 4 years. This is my 4th year going to the games on a media pass. So not that new. So I do beat Mason in that aspect. Mason puts together phenomenal videos. You should go watch those after you watch this, or right now if you really want to. He does a really good job. He is less consistent, has been around less long, and I did face him on Coffee Pods and Wads at one point, and I beat him.
Spin wins 7 to Amanda 6.5 or 6.5. Because that's what Americans say. And Mason got 4, bringing up the rear.
So if I'm going to argue for one spot that maybe I could have gotten, I think there. But I also think just put me in the mud. Let me like float along. You know, I'm working my way up. I'm a 1-person media team here. This is it. This is all of it. And Carson. So, you know, I'm okay with the fact that I might be at the bottom. I'm just doing my best. And I don't do this as a job like some people do. I just do this for fun and because I truly love this community. I love talking about CrossFit, and it's something I've been passionate about for more than a decade. That's why I'm here. Not here to make money, because I really don't. And I'm not here to say anything, apparently.
To bring up Amanda Hari, like, listen.
As an afterthought?
She should have been on there if Morning Chocolate was on there.
Yeah. I mean, she just doesn't say anything. It's like
that's what people like, though. They like
it's like watered down Craig Ritchie. It's like people do like that.
Yeah, because sometimes
I guess she gets a shitload of views.
Well, if you watch some of her other stuff, she just kind of like lays out the facts of like what this is what's happening. Like she doesn't necessarily give opinions on it, but she'll like just like break stuff down.
Yeah.
And she's got a great voice.
That was funny. I was watching the Week in Review with Savan, and he mentioned I don't say anything. And listen, I've said this before too, although I don't say anything. Perception is reality. So if he thinks I don't say anything, then I don't. In his opinion, I don't say anything. That's fine. I respect that. And I think for some people, that saying something involves making decisive comments that incite some sort of emotion, something that's inflammatory, and that is what is saying something. And I don't really do that. And I don't want to do that, because what I do like to talk about here is bringing the community together. So that's not the way I approach things. That's the way some people approach things. Sometimes Savan does that. And you know what? It works so well for him. He gets great views. He has a very supportive audience. And I think he should keep doing it. Keep leaning into it. He could say, I don't say anything. He can say whatever else he wants to say. His audience loves it. And they are continuing to watch, continuing to support him, and continuing to pay him. And this is his full-time job. So a lot of respect for what he's built. Do I agree with everything he says? No. Do I need to come on here and pick apart everything he says? Also, no. Because I believe in trying to do more good. And I personally think more good comes from being kind, being supportive, and highlighting the good things that people are doing. You need to call out the bad sometimes. I did make sure to come on here and talk about how I was doing the Open because I believe in CrossFit and I believe in supporting CrossFit. Some people hated me for that. It happens. There are things that I will take a stand on because they're what I believe in. But a lot of these little things, no, not worth causing more rifts in the community, to me, in my opinion. So here's another video of me saying nothing for all of you. And maybe that's why I didn't make the hill. And I'm okay. I will die on a different hill. But Dallin had my back and did mention me. And Dallin, I have your back too, because I have mentioned multiple times on this channel that I think that you're going to win the games. So thank you. And make me look good, okay? Make that prediction come true, please. Thank you. Okay, I just finished filming this, but I'm popping this near the front. Dallin Pepper had messaged me on Instagram right while I was filming this video, and I checked right after and saw it. It says, big miss on our end not having you on the hill. Ha ha ha. My apologies. Appreciate your apologies, Dallin, and appreciate you bringing me up during your podcast. And to talk a little bit more about how perception is people's reality, I put up these two comments in a video I did reacting to people's comments on my WFP video. And this one comment says, it's clear you had a negative view from the onset, Amanda. And the next comment says, stop with the over positivity. This is from the same video. These people watched the same exact thing and interpreted it totally differently. And their perceptions is their reality. One person thinks I'm negative, the other person thinks I'm positive, and some people think I say nothing, and some people think I say something. Let's take a look at this media hill overall, though, that the boys put together on Boys Interrupted. I do like some of it a lot, and some of it a little bit less. So, top of the hill, we have Boys Interrupted. I think that is tongue-in-cheek. I think it is funny. I enjoyed it when they popped it up there. I do not actually think they're the top of the hill, but I would put someone that they had in their top two. I would honestly put the CrossFit Games media as the top of the hill. I think it is so valuable that we now have all these other media organizations outside of CrossFit media. I think at one point it was mostly CrossFit media and almost no one else. I think it's great there's other people now. I think it's great that people have branched out, but I think that CrossFit media should probably be the highest. They should have the most access to the games athletes. They have the most information because they are part of what is putting on the events. So I think that should be the one that gets the top eventually. But right now I'm not even sure if they're there because of the reality of what happened with laying off all the media and the way they scaled it back, but they're moving it back up. They're trying to grow it, and I'm optimistic about the future of it because of how much effort they're putting into making it something again after kind of destroying it themselves. Second row, Hiller. I think Hiller on the second row is very fair. I might put Savan on that second row if we were to move CrossFit Games up to the top. Buttery Bros. I really enjoyed some of their content. I don't consume nearly as much of their content anymore. That is just the truth. They don't do as much CrossFit stuff. They have distanced themselves from the community a little bit. They weren't at the CrossFit Games this past year. I would drop them down. I would probably switch Buttery Bros with Barbell Spin. I feel like they were possibly looking at Barbell Spin as mostly the podcast or just the website. I think when you look at everything that Barbell Spin is, the weekly podcast, which has great viewership, the website, which is one of the most reliable places in the CrossFit space to get information, and the Instagram, they're a little low. I would put them up on that third row with Mayhem. I think Mayhem is fair there. I think Mayhem has a huge influence on the CrossFit space. But I think Buttery Bros has got to fall a bit down. Other than that, not too bad. Morning Chalk Up, they have a history, right? They were the biggest in the space in the website area at one point. They had a pretty good YouTube following too, but their website was huge at one point. Not now. Things have changed. There's been a lot of changes over at Morning Chalk Up with the ownership. It's not the same now. But they have a history, and I think that's part of the reason why they definitely deserve a space on the mountain. Maybe they should be in that 5 row tier and not in the 4, but I think they do deserve to be on the mountain. They may just be a little bit high up, but I see why they're there. And I do think with certain groups, like Justin was talking a little bit about how with older people, they seem to do really well. I think they still have that with certain groups. And the nostalgia aspect is a part of this too. So I do think they're on the mountain as well. I think a lot of these things are pretty good, but I mentioned what I would shift and who I would shift them with, which is one of the criteria that Jason put out for asking to shift, is suggesting who. And those are my suggestions. You know what? After just saying that, maybe Morning Chalk Up has to stay where it is, because they do have a broader reach than some of the things below it. So maybe Morning Chalk Up is fair there. Moving on to some other things in this space that I wanted to talk about. Dave Castro was on his weekend review, which I kind of did mention earlier, and he said that we will have the games location by the end of the month, hopefully. May or may not happen, but hopefully.
And we will also announce shortly, hopefully before this month is out, the 2026 CrossFit Games location.
I think they're really close. I've heard they're really close. I've heard it's probably west of the Mississippi. So not Albany again. Obviously, I think we knew that was ruled out. Not Madison, but further west is what I'm thinking. West Coast, possibly. Jenna Haka, she is the chief marketing and media officer for CrossFit, put up that they're wrapping up the CrossFit is the Cure, and to stay tuned for the next chapter, which begins 10/20. Do I think this is a games announcement, like the games location? I don't think this is the same thing. I think those are two separate things. I think this is more of the branding that CrossFit is going towards moving forward. I thought CrossFit is the Cure was a really great strategy. I very much enjoyed that push towards CrossFit can change lives. CrossFit can make you healthier. CrossFit is the answer, not those Ozempic drugs and stuff like that, but working hard, getting in the gym, CrossFitting. I think that's something that a lot of us, if not all of us, probably not all of us, can never say all of us, most of us in the CrossFit community can see that CrossFit is the cure, that you need to work hard. I think there can be certain benefits to certain things to get you started, but you need to work hard long term to get the results you want. That is just the truth. The truth isn't a quick fix of a diet pill, of a diet injection. Those things may help the people in the most extreme cases who can't even get off the couch. But once you're off the couch, you need to keep doing things, start doing things, and do them forever. You have to work hard forever to maintain the benefits. But the benefits of exercise are some of the biggest benefits you can get. There are some documentations that it is even more important than diet in some ways. Moving your body. Diet is important, don't get me wrong, but exercise and longevity are so closely linked, and CrossFit is that. CrossFit is what's going to help people live longer, healthier lives and play with their grandkids and maybe their great grandkids. So I like the messaging there. Interested to see where they're going to take it next Monday, 10/20. And then I also asked you all for some questions on my Instagram. My Instagram is just my name. It is Amanda Harry. I know no one knows. Everyone mispronounces it. It's become awkward for me to correct people, but it is Harry, Amanda Harry. I would say it like the male first name, Harry, and that pronunciation is pretty much it, if not very close. So Harry, not Hari. But it's become awkward to try to correct people. And if people are saying my name, that's cool, right? Like, all press is good press. Your questions. One thing is, do you think you will do more interviews on your channel? I don't do as many interviews on this channel because they just don't do super well for me. It doesn't seem to be the things that people click on my channel. The interview I did with Will Morad was not a great performing video, although did well on social media when Hiller picked up on it. And I'm glad people got to see that. But that's just not what I do a ton of on my channel. And it doesn't seem to be the thing that resonates with my viewers as much. So I probably won't do as many interviews unless people seem to really want them. I want to give my audience what they're looking for. And I just don't think interviews are that. And also, interviews require me to schedule my production around someone else. And I'm very busy. This isn't my full-time gig. I've mentioned that. And because this isn't my full-time gig, I have to work around a lot of other things. I do stuff at my gym. I have a full-time job. I have other hobbies that have nothing to do with CrossFit and friends that have never done CrossFit that I spend time with. So I don't have the luxury of being able to have all my time scheduled around this channel or CrossFit. So it's easier just to do things on my own than it is to do things with other people all the time. Thoughts if CrossFit will be sold before the upcoming season? If I had to make a bet, and I will admit, I am not a betting person because I'm not a big fan of losing money. But if I had to make a bet, I would say no. I think they're still working on getting the company ready to sell, and I don't know if they will have built that up enough before the CrossFit season. And I also think the CrossFit Open could be a great opportunity if it's a good open, if it has good turnout, to show the direction CrossFit is going and the growth it is having from its low point. So it may be better to try to sell after the season has already gotten underway. So I'm going to go with a no on will CrossFit be sold before the upcoming season. Could I be wrong? Yeah, I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. I promise. I think we all will at some point. But that's my guess. Someone just left a comment that CFHQ hasn't leveraged all the games champs for fitness as you age media. Could be cool. Totally agree. I think we are seeing a little bit of that from Rich Froning on the Mayhem channel, but that is not on HQ's content. So I do think that that would be a great thing to show. I think they do it a little bit with the Masters athletes and with some of the Masters athletes that have continued to be successful as they age. Jason Grubb is one of them. I think that they should continue to lean into that with the athletes that it makes sense to do so with, because some athletes take steps away from CrossFit and those athletes would not make as much sense to highlight in this regard. And someone else asked, how do you stay consistent when balancing other life responsibilities? And I actually just talked about that a little bit when I talked about the interviews. And I think finding an amount that you can maintain and the way you can maintain it. So I used to be a little bit more creative with my editing. I don't do as much creative editing because I just don't have as much time to dedicate to it. If I did, I would, but I do what makes sense for my channel at the point that it is. I love connecting with all of you. I love having this space and being involved in this community. I don't want to stop doing that. So I don't want to do so much that it becomes unsustainable. So I try to keep it in a very sustainable pace by doing what I can and prioritizing it when it needs to get done. So if some big announcement happens, I do really try to get here as soon as possible if I'm not already doing my 9-to-5 job, which is not actually 9 to 5, but my 40-hour-a-week job that I have to dedicate my time to. If I'm not doing that, I try to adjust other things to get here. How do you prepare mentally for tough workouts or competition weekends? The last competition I did, I didn't know I was doing it until less than 24 hours before the competition happened. So not much preparation happened and I just went for it. Didn't even know my partner, and we ended up finishing third on the podium. Met the man I was working out with that morning, and it just all worked out. So sometimes I think it's not overthinking it too much, trusting your training, trusting the work you've put in over days, weeks, months, years, and knowing that's going to show up on game day as much as possible. And sometimes it's just about pressing go, especially on those tough workouts, those tough training workouts that you might not want to do. Start the clock. I think you could spend so much time standing there looking around, feeling sorry for yourself, making up excuses for why the workout's going to suck or why you're not going to do well today. Press go. Press start. Do the workout. That's one of my best pieces of advice. You just have to do it. Whatever it is, whatever feels hard, whatever feels scary, just do it. Because if you don't do it, you're wasting your time and you're not getting better. So the best mental preparation is trusting your training. And when it comes to actually doing the training, showing up and doing it. And that might seem simple, but I've watched people in the gym stare at the clock and try to over strategize a workout for an hour. Do the workout. You know how to do the workout. Trust yourself. I think we're going to wrap things up there because I think Carson needs my attention because he just keeps on scooting closer to me and making things difficult. But I love you and it's okay. All right. I appreciate you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one.